May 5th is a day set aside to commemorate the World Hand Hygiene Day. According to WHO, hand hygiene is critical in achieving a universal health coverage, as it is a practical and evidence-based approach with demonstrated impact on quality of care and patient safety across all levels of health system.
Hand hygiene is the cheapest and most effective way of preventing and controlling infection. And one of the ways to control infection is by hand washing. When the hand is heavily soiled, we wash with soap and water. Otherwise, we use alcohol-based hand rubs. And this will go a long way in preventing and, when it happens, controlling healthcare-associated infections. Because we realize the burden of healthcare-associated infection is growing by the minute. It's not just about transmitting infection from one person to the other. It goes beyond that, because as a healthcare worker, you carry a lot of things from the hospital to your different homes and the community. So it's a worldwide thing. And the campaign slogan is to save lives with taking care of the hand.
This year, WHO Global Annual Call to Action for Health Workers was to create awareness on the theme, Clean Care for All, It's in Your Hands. This was done with a procession by some health workers.
It's just to let people know that clean hands goes a long way to save lives. When we clean our hands all the time, it helps us to prevent germs getting into our food or our water. Or when we touch people, you don't know where that person is coming from. Maybe the person is just coming from the toilet and you just say, good morning, how are you? And you have a handshake with such a person. Before you go to do any other thing, make sure you clean your hand, either with a alcohol-based sanitizer, or if your hands are heavily soiled, make sure you use soap and water to clean your hands, to make sure your hands are free at all times.
Hand hygiene is not only restricted to health workers. Other people who do not work in the health sector were also urged to join health workers in their efforts to practice good hand hygiene.
As an administrator, concerning the hand hygiene, we participate in the awareness of hand hygiene by giving talks to people, to patients especially, in order for them to be able to be clean, so that infection will not be they will not be transferring infection from one bed to another. And as administrator, we'll go around the hospital to check their bin, their waste bin. When their waste bin is not enough for them, we do the supply for them in order not to spread infection in the world too.
This was also an opportunity to illustrate the basic hand washing techniques.
During hand washing with soap and water, you need the tap to be running. The whole process can take like 40 to 60 seconds. The more time you spend, we expect that the more cleaner your hands will be. If you just go in and rush out, we don't expect your hands to be clean. So you should take like 40 seconds to 1 minute. And it starts, the tap is running, you apply enough soap in the hands. Let's assume the tap is running now, and then I've applied soap in my hands to take the two palms. All right, I rub the two palms together, then I use the right hand to rub the back of the left hand, and vice versa, the back of the left hand. And then we must take note of our knuckles, the right knuckles, the left knuckles. I take care of the fingertips of the right, and I do the same thing on the left. And we should not forget our thumb. You rub the thumb very well, as well as this thumb. And you should also go around the wrist. This I have used soap to wash my hands, and then we rinse under the tap. After rinsing, we take a clean disposable towel to mop our hand. We want to discourage the habit of having a towel by the side of the hand washing that everybody will now be using in turn. That should be discouraged because that is not preventing infection. It's actually causing more spread of infection. So what we encourage is a single-use towel. It may be tissue, it may be serviette, it may be hand towel. You mop your hand and discard. That way you are through with your hand washing.
Maintaining a proper hand hygiene would go a long way in preventing infections and diseases.